What is bonkers, bakers? How is everyone doing today?
I'm doing pretty well.
I'm doing pretty good too.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. And viewers, I hope you guys are doing well too. It's a bright and sunny day out today.
It is?
Yeah. So guys,
But it's
guys,
nighttime.
guys, guys, no, guys.
Hmm.
You all play D&D, right?
Once or twice.
Yeah.
That's a crazy coincidence because I do too. I've been thinking a bunch about D&D characters lately. I've been wanting to play like a bunch of different, more complex guys because I feel like, at least in the start, at least for the first two, I played very. How do I describe it?
Static?
Goofballs.
Oh, goofballs.
And static. Yeah, static. So
Oh,
I've been having like just a flood of different character ideas for all this different stuff, and like I've gone from writing like a sentence for backstory to like writing out like pages and pages of oh yeah, this is their backstory and this that, and it's way too much, and the DM probably doesn't read all that. I mean some of them do, but
Most
like
of them do.
just for the characters I haven't even like played yet, and probably will never will. I have like a whole bunch of stuff for that. Maybe I should have spent that time writing on the campaign, but whatever. Characters are so interesting, you know? So I've been thinking I've been wanting to play like just I've been thinking about all the how do I explain this? I'm explaining it pretty well. Yeah, I just want to play I want to branch out a bit more, you know? I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be static in an archetype. That kind of applies to life too, you know? I've been wanting to branch out a bunch more recently this summer. Wanting to try a whole bunch of different things. Time, if only time was like infinite. I mean, it is, but if only we were, you know? Because then I would have so much more time to just do everything. Imagine that. Imagine being immortal and just being able to just do everything. Wouldn't that be crazy?
I mean, yeah, but then there's like all the other downsides.
Well, ignoring those.
I mean, yeah, having more time to do stuff would be crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. Now we have like 70 campaigns though.
That's true.
So it definitely feels like we're bordering on the very many campaigns. I have one I am cooking up, but I am not going to put it in play because that would just be unfair to all the other campaigns. Because that just makes scheduling and getting to everyone's sessions even harder. And like scheduling has become so much harder, which kind of sucks. So we're all like adults now. I don't know who decided that was okay.
Scheduling is balls now.
Scheduling kind of just shits chunks, you know?
True.
But yeah. What about you guys? Have you guys been wanting to like branch out more, start new things?
I mean, a bit. Not as much as you, but a small degree.
Okay. I just have a lot of things on my plate, and I haven't been like starting a bunch or anything, but there's just I have the backlog. First of all, I want to like more of a long-term goal is to be fluent in another language because that's just awesome. And it's also pretty good just learning another language. Because yeah, I only learned like a tiny little bit of another language, but it already helped me understand like how language works a lot more, just in general. Because when you start off, you only have this one language, and that's how you contextualize a lot of things. So learning another language can be very useful in contextualizing how people talk. Also, also want to go into music a bit more, also down the line. Got a lot of things on my plate. It's like if I went to a Chinese buffet and the buffet is my brain, but the plate is only the size of my mortality. You know?
Yeah.
I think that did make sense though.
It did, yeah.
Yet another banger metaphor by me. All right.
How do you plan about going about learning another language?
Probably Duolingo. I've heard that's really good.
I mean, it's like good for learning like small vocabulary words, but to actually like you want to be fluent, that's not gonna really work. You need to like have
How would I
more.
do that
Yeah.
then?
You're gonna probably need more like on-hand experience.
Yeah, you need to
But
have like conversations in it with other people.
Okay. That makes sense. What would be like a good starting point though?
I mean, that's like if you don't have any like classes that you're able to take
Yeah.
for that, that's a good starting point. But that's like, oh, learning vocab and some small things. It doesn't really teach you like syntax and grammar as well.
Okay. Just like that's the exact same of my high school Spanish course. They kind of just threw words at us, but they didn't teach much else. They didn't really teach us how to like connect sentences or anything.
Really? It was that bad?
Well, sort of. From my memory, it was a really bad experience. Like they were just not very good at teaching us things. Like a large portion of the course was just, if this makes sense, just teaching us, like showing us different words and telling us what they meant instead of like going through like the structure of the language first and giving us like a better foundation.
Well, no, you need to know like the like the words before you can
I
learn
know,
the
but
structure.
most of it was just learning learning different words. It didn't really take off from there at all.
How many years did you take?
Uh I think two.
Really? But that was really bad then.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was for my Spanish 1 class. We never really had a teacher that lasted more than like 2 months. Like the teachers kept cycling out, and then we'd have different subs, and then a new teacher would come in, then they'd leave. Like it was crazy. We never had a consistent teacher.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That might have been it, because we were always starting and ending on like completely different places depending on the teacher.
yeah.
What language did you take in school?
To which, like, just generally, both of us. Jacob, you answer first.
Okay. I took German for 3 years.
Oh,
I took French, and I am taking it again next semester.
oh. What did you guys think about those classes? You feel like you learned a lot?
Yeah, my teachers were pretty good. All of them were native speakers.
Oh,
One of mine was good, the other was very bad, but my first one was good enough to where like she gave me a foundation where I didn't the like basic sheet that the other teacher gave us was enough for me to learn what's it called? To like teach myself what my teacher wasn't.
gotcha. Okay. That's good. Can you say sentences in the language? Do you remember much?
Yeah, for the most part. And I can
Can you
like read a bit.
can you say super Frankie
No,
in
because that's not a
French?
sentence. That would just be super Frankie.
Oh,
That's just you say that with the accent.
okay. What about you, Jacob?
Uh, like, I guess I could say it with just like a German accent, but like, I'm trying to think of the
Maybe
words.
maybe that's a bad sentence.
It's not
I
a
could say
sentence.
it's not a sentence, Liam, but
Well,
like I definitely could
It is not
say
a
it.
sentence.
I definitely could say
okay.
it, but if I wanted to sound more German, I would replace like super with a different word.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Cool. Guys,
Hmm.
do you think there are more
Oh, God.
I haven't finished. You don't even know what I'm gonna say.
I know the gist of what you're gonna say.
Do you guys think there are more doors or wheels
Huh?
in the world?
Is this fucking shit?
This is a terrible question because it's impossible to answer. And you just
Well,
keep
that's just
there
why.
because there's so many variables. You keep going. But what about this? But what about this? But what about this? But what about this? We could have like 6 episodes just about this.
Okay. Maybe we can skip the question.
Thank you.
Viewers can answer what they think.
But you are not obligated to answer what you think.
Well, that question was all of my topics, so I got nothing. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Okay, that's
Oh my
fine.
god! Like that.
I was worried you were. That's my magnum
Guys,
opus this week.
My topic for today is that I'm gonna give you a bunch of terrible topics.
No,
and
I
don't
didn't.
read
I
them.
didn't expect that to last more than a minute.
Okay, yeah. And there was only one bad topic. That one. All the others were good.
Yeah.
Jacob, do you have anything this week?
What do you mean?
TOPICKS.
What do you
any
mean?
topics?
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about one thing, but like, I feel like last time Liam had more topics to talk about.
But Jacob.
Well, we're giving other people
Yeah.
time to talk.
I talked a lot last time. I don't need to talk a lot this time.
Jacob, do you like talking?
That's the whole point of this, to talk. That's
like
why we're
talking.
here. That's
I'm
the
not
whole
saying
point of
I
all
don't,
of this.
But like, my topic's pretty short, and like,
That's fine.
Okay.
Jacob, I am sure your topic is wonderful. Let's hear it.
All right. I mean, I was gonna talk about how recently my brother decided to ask me to be one of his groomsmen for his wedding.
Oh yeah.
Based. That's cool.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really excited for it.
But do you approve of the marriage?
Yeah,
The real hard-hitting questions.
Why would
Because
I
if you didn't, this would be the perfect opportunity. Well, you know, in the part where they're like, "Does anyone have your?"
Wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity?
Yeah, that's what I said.
No,
I don't have any qualms.
Okay,
Who he's marrying.
Very good.
I've known them for quite a bit as well. They've been with my brother for about 7 years.
That's crazy.
Wow. What took him so long? What's the deal with that?
That's so toxic.
Okay.
Well, that's very cool. I hope they are of the 50% that stays together happily.
Thank you, Liam, for your kind
Wait, that's a
words.
positive thing. I hope they're on the right side or the good side of the statistic.
Mm-hmm. Not all divorces are bad.
They are in God's world, which is this
only if you're a
world.
Catholic.
Okay. Well, thank you for the topic, Jacob. I'm glad you spoke about it, even if it was short, because it was short, but it was sweet.
Uh-huh.
But why are short things sweet? Now, where did that phrase come from? Short
I don't
but
know.
sweet.
That's probably a Googleable question.
Alexa.
I
don't have an Alexa.
I was about to say, you don't have an Alexa.
You don't know.
Yes, I do.
How do you know? How do you know?
Because you have said it before that you do not have an Alexa.
I've said that?
Yeah, we were messing around with one at Zane's, and you're like, man, I don't have an Alexa. It would be really funny if I did, to tell it to do stupid things.
I don't believe you. Anyways, this expression was already proverbial in 1539. That's a lot of years ago. When it appeared in Richard Taverner's translation of Erasmus's Adagia?
I have
Okay, yeah.
no idea what you're talking about.
Over the years, it was occasionally amplified. That doesn't. Hold on. Let me go to dictionary.com, guys.
Do you not know what amplified means?
Amplify? What? I know what amplified means. Why?
It's fucking exaggerated.
Yeah, I know what it means.
Then why'd you go to dictionary.com?
No, I'm going to dictionary.com for the phrase because it has it on there.
Mm.
Sorry, I should have specified. That was my bad. I will take responsibility for that. Yeah, this didn't help at all. Whatever. You know what? Well, no, I'm in a learning mood. Where did this come from? Where did short but sweet come from? Let's see. Anyone else have a topic while I research this?
No, that's. Have either of you been up to anything exciting recently?
Exciting?
Mm-hmm.
You could technically always call my work exciting, but like,
Would you call your work exciting?
no,
Yeah,
I
then
don't.
no.
Well, I mean, like the different perspectives would make people believe different things about it.
Well, yeah,
It's
but like
just
there are some people that think stale milk is exciting.
Okay, I suppose it was just a thing that was said that I suppose it was just a thing that was said that made sense. The full phrase is better short than sweet than long and lax.
Okay.
I guess sweet things are considered good, or like they can be synonymous with
Mhm.
nice. Even though too much sweetness can be bad, but I guess they also say too much of a good thing
Yeah.
can be bad.
So too short is bad, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't.
But yeah, your work is exciting, so I hear.
Liam, have you been up to anything exciting?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna finish filming my awesome sauce movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a bit for our friend group.
True.
It was gonna be a part of the movie festival, and I will be showing it off at the movie festival. Quantity of one movie.
Yeah.
Not really dig. Other people just didn't have time, but
Yeah.
that's why
Good.
it started.
Well, it's also like scheduling would have been hell for multiple. It's already hard enough for just yours.
Yeah, that's true. Again with the scheduling, treacherous scheduling.
Our friend group's so hard to schedule for. Other people do not have this much of an
'Cause-
issue.
Yeah,
Because because like half of them are part time, so everyone's schedules are like super volatile.
Even then, other people I know with like everybody working part time get together. It's just crazy. We have like a special lack of overlap.
yeah.
When we're like big old adults and we all have full-time jobs, it could probably be easier to like get together in like a call or something once a week.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm sure. I think it's definitely possible that once we're all settled in more, we could like put time aside once a week for like D&D or something. Have
Yeah, but
weekly
that's
sessions.
for a
That'd be the
while.
dream. I know I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing that. Jacob, did you consider anything exciting happening in your week life? Week with
The only thing I would consider citing is slightly morbid of a topic, so I'm not going to talk about it.
fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a boring week, so I also don't have anything exciting.
Yeah.
Not anything wrong with boredom. Sometimes too much excitement can be a bad thing.
Yeah, but I'm bored.
Yeah, I guess so. Never mind. You should come over to my house right after this, and then we can watch One Piece together.
I don't want to watch One Piece.
We could play Mario Party together.
I'm not a big Mario Party fan, and it'll
We could
also
play
be
Mario Kart
like
together.
12 a.m. I also don't like Mario Party. I don't like much of the Mario multiplayer games.
We could. You're such a rebel rouser.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean?
Just like he who shall not be named. Especially him. Oh my god. Makes my blood boil. Try not to be toxic, but
I was about to say, is this not toxic?
I don't think it's toxic. I'm just venting my frustrations with a person, which I think is valid.
Is it fair to do
I'm-
this in a public forum where eventually they might see
Oh.
this?
No, that's valid. Maybe that's not so fair.
Is it the person I'm
'Cause I have a
thinking
po-
of?
Let me take a guess. Yes, it is, Jacob.
Because I think I caught some of it. At it was the person we were at Chili's with, right?
We were with multiple people, and you'll never guess which person I'm talking
Were you
about.
two arguing at Chili's?
We weren't arguing, actually. Well, oh no.
Jacob was it?
Were.
Okay.
Well, only kinda. It's just, it was never meant to be. We're such like opposite people. No, this is not being. I'm just accepting because I was wanting to do something, but I have accepted that like we're just so different. It would never work out.
I don't think so. You literally buy the wedding like ceremony and you do it and that's it. There is
No, but
no commitment.
Yeah, I don't understand your problem because like you just do it and then it's done.
Well then, I won't get into this on a public forum.
You just have to like
He's
push
in
for it a
VC,
little
so
more.
we can get into this right after.
You just have to push for it a little more. Because you're both like, hey, what are we like? You have to say, let's do it and sit down and plan it.
No, but I've already been on Party Finder saying looking for wife, showing that I'm not loyal.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
marriage in a video game for mounts. You're doing it for the mounts.
There's a mount?
Wait, then why were you doing it?
Or the mount?
Yes, for the mount.
Anyways, let's move on to my next topic.
Okay.
Because no, I won't say that. Do you guys ever like interact much online, like commenting and talking to other people stuff when you were like younger?
No, I still don't.
What about you, Jacob?
When online,
Yeah.
I would say like I did like somewhat.
Okay.
I mean, much more when I was younger, like in like the off and off, like video games I played. Sometimes I would do like voice chat online, like the stereotypical like 8-year-old. But that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I was very much an observer, and I still am actually. Like what we're doing right now is like the craziest I've ever done in terms of going on the internet. I just kind of observe. Because like I see all these comments and everything, it's just like a mess, and I just don't see the point in like just throwing stuff out there. And I think there is a point. There is a point in like if you see content and you could have like something good to say, but I've not a single comment I've ever put on the internet. I've always just been a silent observer. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I just never really felt the need to when I was younger. And I'm glad I didn't now that I'm older. Cause I probably I guess the extent would be when I was kind of young, being in VC for Destiny raids with a bunch of big adults.
I did that.
But they never
I
cared.
also was in I was in an ARC tribe. I was in several ARC tribes with other people. That's actually the most extent to that actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You did a lot more than me.
Yeah, I just realized because I had what's it called? I made friends on ARC. I had one friend that we both were working like together in a tribe. He was about our age. He was Canadian, And then one day he just betrayed us for no reason. Like it
Really?
fucked him over too. And we're like, why the fuck did you do that? And he's like, I'm so much better than you guys. And then we're
Oh.
like, but now you don't have a tribe.
So you didn't really make a friend. He was just a
Well, it was for like a
okay.
year, and then that suddenly
Oh,
happened.
for a year?
Yeah.
Damn. Wow. He was playing the long game. Maybe someone just made him angry or something.
I didn't see that. I mean, potentially, but like there was no like weird. It was just kind of out of the blue.
Yeah. Just out of the random
Mm-hmm.
random circumstance. He's
That
like, one
What do
day
you
he's
got?
like, "Hey, I'm gonna get the resources for you," and he's like, "Oh, sorry guys, I sold your coordinates away for the highest
Yeah,
bidder."
he just like took some stuff and left, and we're like, that wasn't even like a good steal.
Huh.
You didn't even show us correctly, idiot.
Yeah.
That reminds me of this one post I saw online, which definitely could be fake, but it'd be really funny if it wasn't fake. So I'm going to operate on that because it's not dangerous to assume if it is real, you know. Anyways, the post is like there's this like it was like this fantasy role playing game,
Mm-hmm.
and like there was this one guy who always played the bartender and always served everyone's drinks for like a year straight, getting to know everyone. And then one day when there was this big party, he poisoned everyone's drink and killed off everyone. And like in that game, like death was like permanent or whatever. It's like you lost all your stuff and had to restart. And like immediately like the mods got on him because like you have to always be in character. Like if you just mass genocide people out of nowhere, they'll reverse it because it's like not in character. And they found that he had been keeping a log in character for the whole year about specific reasons of why he hated every single person on that server. Like from just the smallest shit, like just I hate the way that that guy's cloak looks. And then he justified it by saying because the first time he logged onto the server, some powerful player killed him immediately, so he swore vengeance on everyone.
That's kind of funny. Fucked up, but funny.
So they ended up just deciding to reset the whole server because everyone died anyways.
Makes sense.
Canonical white.
A true villain.
That's an interesting anecdote.
Yeah. Anyways, I was gonna say I'm glad I never commented or did anything cringe when I was younger, because I'd end up regretting it later. But when I was thinking about that statement, I was like, is that the right mindset? Because I feel like if you're always so worried about regretting what you do in like the far future, you might do like just way less, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Better to do something, regret it, and learn from it than to be too scared to do anything at all. Do you guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very broad statement. I'm sure
Yeah.
there are nuances, but like just overall.
It's a decent sentiment, yeah.
But that's probably like way too broad because there are definitely circumstances that apply that you should be worried about your actions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Just get elevator music to like play every time like we have a gap
No,
when we're
no,
waiting for
no,
someone else
no,
to talk.
no.
No.
Do you guys have any more topics?
I have a few. Do you have anything else you really want to talk about?
I have more stuff, yeah.
I mean, if you want to
Just
go
letting
for
other
it.
people. All right. The art of conversation. Do you guys think we've gotten better at conversation since we started this podcast? Because that was my main goal with this. I want to just get better at talking, at holding conversations, at listening, at all of that jazz.
Yeah.
Because I spent so much of my life with you guys in a friend group I'm comfortable with. So the first time I stepped into a new area where I had to like talk to new people and make new friends, I was like, oh my god, I never realized I became bad at this because I never had to do it before. So one of my goals with this was just get better at talking. What about you guys?
I think you got better.
Yeah.
I know, like, the main goal for this was just like, a good time to hang out with friends and just, talk about stuff that you normally like wouldn't talk about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the last part. I'm glad we started this because there's a lot of things I'm glad I said, but I never really would have gotten into it if I didn't have the goal to talk for an hour straight
Yeah.
about interesting things. I should save some of this stuff as just like conversation havings for different people. Icebreakers, yes. So you guys would say we've improved at talking?
Well, I mean, for specifically in this context where it's you, me, and Jacob talking about things, I'd say so. I don't
I
know.
guess it's not a one-to-one
Yeah.
to
And I
talking to new
also
people, but I
haven't
still think
seen
it
you guys
helps.
in an outside conversation.
Uh,
Like the outside of the friend group stuff, I have not like seen any of that, so I can't like be a judge of it.
Yeah.
okay. Well, you can just install one of your cameras in my jacket, and then you can watch as
They
I.
get washed. I've lost like too many of those.
Oh, okay, yeah. Think about the
Imagine
art.
like if someone just like hid someone's camera in their jacket and like they just kept on having to buy new ones because they kept on washing their clothes.
I feel like at that point you just put the camera somewhere else.
Yeah, like in their hair.
Don't you wash your hair?
Some people
It's a
don't.
waterproof camera, he learned.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
I go one day without washing my hair and it already starts to feel gross and like oily.
Yeah.
Oh, you have oily hair.
I do have oily hair.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. I wash mine every other day, usually, unless I go like work out or something.
Gasp. Okay. But yeah, I've been thinking a bit more about the art of conversation. I haven't had a lot of chances to really like try to improve at it this summer because I've just been with the friend group this whole time.
Mhm.
So the start of this next semester will be really where I really want to try and put it forward. Conversation, it's an art. It is an art. I think so, at least. It it feels so easy, but like there's a lot of techniques and strategies to being able to talk well and talk
Yeah.
confidently and captivate other people's attentions. The whole other aspect of it, being a good conversationalist isn't just being good at talking, but also being good at listening,
True.
which is like one of the most overlooked aspects I've seen. There are a lot of people I've seen that like talk, but they don't listen. And there are also I've realized I myself am one of those people. I am horribly, horribly awful at listening. I've seen. So I've been trying to make that a goal. I'm sure you guys have know where every now and then I say something and you're like, yeah, you mentioned that before, and I was like, what? I'm bad at listening to myself. That's like a whole that's like another level of bad listening.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, that's being
So
forgetful.
I guess so. I guess I've got a long way to go, but at least I'm able to recognize that I'm a bad listener.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I was thinking about conversations. My dad was talking to me about it. And he mentioned that a good way to think about conversation is basically just sharing stories. Like you open yourself up and because like, so that everyone has a story they want to share. Like everyone's nervous to talk at first, but overall, people like talking about themselves and their experiences. So a good way or one way to go about conversations is thinking about trying to get the person to share what they want to share their story with you is a good way to get people to start opening up.
Mm-hmm.
So the best icebreakers are like I feel like I found, or at least I believe, that the best icebreakers aren't just kind of like blank questions like what's your favorite color, but talking about stories or like trying to talk about something and say a story about that and trying to get a person to share their story because that's like a lot longer, more in-depth conversation where you actually learn a lot more about people than just asking what their favorite color is. you know. I didn't fully grasp what he said though. I have to ask him about it again. But it seemed like a pretty useful perspective of just trying to get people to share their story as a way to look at conversation. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I like, yeah, for the most part, it's much better than like a lot of surface level things like, oh, what's your favorite color and all that. But I don't know, some people like, I think the hard part about conversations is first instigating a conversation rather than like
Yeah.
going right into the story stuff, because I'm like, and I also don't feel like I have very interesting stories to tell. So
Yeah.
that's the hard part for me.
I've also found that a lot. I do have interesting stories to tell. I believe that, but when I'm talking to someone, they never come to mind. So I usually just try to replace that with just my perspective and just broad enthusiasm. Like I'll talk about something and I'll really put a lot of emphasis, and I usually people find that funny. It's like, how could and then this person did this, and I was like, how could they even done that? And it's like, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Whenever you're trying to talk to a new person, it always feels like you have to have a reason. Like, oh, maybe I'll wait for them to drop something, and then I'll pick up their pencil, and then I'll start a conversation about that pencil. Like, oh, I have the same pencil, and that's my excuse. Like, you have to have an excuse to start a conversation with someone you don't know. And it can feel really awkward if you don't have an excuse, and you just go up to someone and acknowledge, hey, I just want to talk to you. You know, that is the hardest way to start a conversation. But sometimes you just don't have an excuse to talk to someone other than you just want to talk to them. I know if someone walked up to me and just started talking to me about something, and if I found it interesting, I'd totally just talk back to them. But I guess maybe I'm just unique.
I don't ever have that
I
happen.
Yeah, it never happens because everyone has the same perspective about how hard it is to like start a conversation with someone you don't know, and they feel awkward and they'd rather just not, which is why you got to be the one to break the ice. You can't really rely on anyone else doing it. You got to demolish that ice. You got to take your fist and karate chop it on the top as if you were back in 4th grade at the taekwondo class, and the instructor was yelling at you to break the wooden block, and all the other kids had done it, and you'd be so embarrassed if you didn't do it, but it looked like it really hurt, and you've never like broken wood with your hand before, but you got to do it because everyone else has done it, and you're not old enough to understand that you're being affected by
This is a personal thing you've gone
no.
Do you want to talk about it?
No.
Then why are you bringing it up?
Well, it's just it was wood, man. And I was like, I had tiny baby hands, and you expect me to break that with my hand? Like we didn't practice for this. We just practiced like fancy moves and like walking around in a couple of kicks. But and then bro, and you expect me to take my hand and just slam it into this chunk of wood, which it wasn't even that thick, but for the size of my eyes, it looked pretty massive. And the instructor guy was just there. He was holding it. And it was like, "Oh, you expect me to do this?" But then I did it anyways because my mom was watching me, and I was like, "Holy crab apples! I just broke that piece of wood." You ever have that happen to you?
No.
And then you look up at the belt rack, and suddenly all the belts that you used to think was way too long, you suddenly realize, oh, I can get there. I can do it. Until they pull out the 2 boards, and then you got to break it 2 boards at once. Oh, and then even worse than the boards were the plastic thingies, where it was like 2 squares that you cut down the middle and they like break apart, but then you stab them back. That was even worse than the wood somehow. And then that's also where you discover that air gets hotter the closer you blow onto your hands. Like when you blow onto it right into your hands, it's hot. but then it's cool. So then you realize, oh my god, the air is actually hotter inside of you, but then it immediately cools out as you leave your body. You ever have that happen to you at Taekwondo practice?
No.
Uh, well, it was just a random example that I thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no correlation at all, right?
Correlation. I hardly know her.
Oh. I don't know
So
why I said
yeah,
oh.
that's the end of that topic.
That's the end of that topic.
That's the end of that topic.
Nothing more to add.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Jacob.
That's what they called me in high school.
Nothing more to add?
Hold on a
We
minute.
might
Do you
have
have
some
a
issues
topic?
we need to talk about today.
Do you have a topic?
Oh, you can't just drop it there.
Why not? I'm the manifester of my own destiny. I can do whatever I want.
That's not true.
Watch me.
That's what I do frequently, but
I just did whatever I wanted, which was to do what I just did there.
which was what?
Pick up my fidget spinner and spin it.
Oh.
And you couldn't stop me.
That's true.
It is true. It's crazy that like we have our brain and that's us, but we send like signals to our hands so fast that we can make such precise movements with it. Like my hand is right in front of me. I was like, all right, I want it to open, and then bam, it's open just like that. I want to move one finger down, bam, it's open. But then I want to like regulate the speed, like I want to point, and it starts to go slow and then it goes fast just like that, and there's no lag, you know. Like these monitors that are my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
they got to be crazy fast. And I understand how it works, but it's still just crazy to think about that you just got these arms that just react exactly to what your brain wants instantaneously, all subconsciously. You know, you can't even like really tap into the process consciously. It just happens. In fact, it only happens subconsciously. You can't like this is too much of an abstract thought for me to even say. Actually, I don't even know what I'm how to say it.
You're just saying nonsense.
It's not it means something to me.
Well, verbally, it's nonsense.
I guess so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I could not latch on to anything there.
Okay.
Yeah, there was not a lot to go with.
Maybe we just have different perspectives.
That is objectively true.
That's also true, yeah.
Why is it so easy to devalue or dislike things or people that are different from you?
Because you don't understand them.
Why does not understanding immediately lead to not liking something? Is that just programmed into us?
It doesn't immediately lead not liking, but it's for most
Because there's so
people,
much just
it
like
is.
where people don't understand something or something's different, then the immediate response for so many people is just like hatred. I wonder why that is.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
It's
Because
not.
like that's what I'm trying to go against. I'm trying to be more open-minded so I could better respond to newer, different ideas, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to put in work to be able to do that. The default, it feels like, is to like something is different than you and you don't understand it, then it's weird and you don't like it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was actually me a bit with like LGBTQ stuff.
Really?
I yeah. I mean, I was never like homophobic, but it just was like my response to it was like that's weird, you know. I don't understand why people even do that. I
Mm-hmm.
never like did anything about it, but when I was really young, that was my response and kind of my mindset for a little bit of time. But then over time, pretty quickly, I was like,
This is not.
I recognized that some of the people who are my friends were actually queer. And I was like, oh, well, they're queer, but they're my friend and I know them and they're cool. So it must not be that weird then.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't exactly the right way to look at it, but that was what initially started to change my mindset about it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But initially I just heard about it like it was like two men kissing. That's just gross. Like ew. And I didn't really think much more about it. That was just my immediate reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why that's because that feels like something that's just like encoded into people. Really, you gotta put in work to be able to overcome that. Is it evolutionary maybe? Because like maybe in the environment when we were still like out in the wilderness, there were a lot of things that like if we didn't know what they were, then it was best to avoid them. Like if there was a new plant that we didn't recognize, it would be best to be scared of it because it could be like a new poisonous plant, or if there's a new there's this an animal we didn't understand, best to avoid it because a lot of things in the world, so many things in the world, were able to kill you. So it was a defense mechanism to be weary and be scared of things you didn't understand because there was a good chance they'd kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And the environment we've lived in has changed so rapidly into this one, but we haven't had nearly enough time to like change or evolve to it at all. So we still have so many tendencies from the people we were, but in an environment that's completely different and kind of incompatible for it. That's my theory, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I think we evolved to be afraid of things we didn't understand because there were a gazillion things in the planet that were out there to kill us, and if you didn't understand it, it would probably eat you alive. But society changed so quickly, where that's not really a good mindset anymore because things change so much, but it doesn't necessarily mean your immediate reaction has to be, ooh, that's bad because I don't understand it. Because now there's a lot of things in the world that you should try to understand, but we still have the tendencies to just,
Mm-hmm.
that is something I don't understand, therefore I don't like it. I see
Yeah.
that mindset a lot, and that's one explanation of why I think that happens. Do you guys agree?
Jacob, you talk. We take turns. Jacob talked first in response, then I talked first, then Jacob talks.
I just wanted to hear my response. I mean, like, yeah, the world is like progressing at a fast rate, and it's not like how it used to be, where like something different necessitates like a defensive reaction, kind of like something like, I don't know, like medieval times or whatnot.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's nothing. The new things aren't necessarily bad, so there's no like real reason to justify the responses anymore.
Yeah. Evolution is not quite as fast as our society is. By not quite, I mean nowhere near.
Yeah.
You know, people say that we're done evolving. I've seen that said. I don't believe that. I think we're kind of done evolving, like physically, but mentally, the way we evolve with our brains, I think, is going to change a lot
That's
because everything's so different.
that's
No.
That's still
physical
evolving.
That's still physical evolution.
Sorry, by physical, I meant like our bodies.
But your brain changing and the way it works also is like
Yeah, that's also
The
part of
physical
your body.
evolution based on your brain.
The exterior.
So, okay, you mean interior?
No,
No, yeah, you mean that the interior will continue to change while the exterior does
yeah,
not.
that's what I think. I've seen a lot of people talking about that, where it's like the
Changing the way
exterior.
we think from experience and not by overall nature.
Yeah,
I think that we'll still
and
continue to
logic,
change a bit.
maybe. It's different because like it's not a like. It's not as much of a if if you have certain attributes, then you die or survival of the fittest. It's definitely still a bit especially in various parts of the world. But
Well,
a
that's
lot of it
not.
we have been
Go ahead.
working to like instead of just people who are in an optimal die, we just change the environment to work for the people.
Well, there's still physical, like there are, as a tendency, some physical traits in some societies are preferred, and so those traits may become more prominent as more people choose those, and less people do not choose them.
Mm.
Mind over matter.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
As you
it's
think about directing yourself to focus on different things, different parts of your bodies will adjust to change for that goal.
or maybe we also might like change in a way to become like uh we may allow ourselves to use more calories than before because that is something that we have done now that we no longer food's no longer such a commodity for large portions of the world. We
Oh,
don't know
maybe.
how evolution will change in a society like this because we've never seen it, but it will most likely continue in some capacity or another.
Okay. That was my last topic.
Okay. Let's see. What do I have? I think I've got a thing or two. Let me double check and reopen my phone. Yeah, I've got one interesting one, as in one topic.
Oh,
When is doing the right thing wrong?
Woo.
when is doing the right thing wrong? If doing a thing is wrong, wouldn't that make it the wrong thing?
Uh, no, because there's no. It's not so easy to define right and wrong as that. It's
I
like,
mean,
what
I
would you
guess it's
consider the right thing? In like,
just in general.
yeah, like as
That
close as you can define it.
oh boy. What is my definition of doing the right thing? I've never sat down and thought about like a specific definition for that.
It's because it's
Um,
impossible to completely pin it down.
Doing the right thing would be following my own morals, whatever they are,
Mm-hmm.
and like against like societal opinions of me.
I guess just doing what I believe helps people the most.
That's how I would define it. And in the cases when it's wrong is whenever like be it like unintentionally it causes more harm than good. It's kind of like the situation like the thing I can relate it to in like forms of media is like when one person like chooses one thing over the like another. What would be right for them may be wrong for someone else, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Or go ahead.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess just whatever helps people the most. That's very broad.
Yeah, there are times when you have options that will help people, but then it'll also hurt another group of people. Like, let's
Yeah.
see. I mean, I think like an easy small example is, let's say one of your friends is doing something and it technically breaks a law, but it doesn't hurt anybody, and it's not like murder. Let's say they stole something of not like very large value. What would you do in that scenario?
Okay, okay. I don't I don't think I would rat them out. I think it would, because I think more harm would be done by making them go to jail just for stealing one thing than following the law and making sure that thing stays is rightfully purchased at the cost of someone's life being hurt or like going to jail or just taking a large fine. Because stealing like what I guess it really depends on the situation, but stealing like a candy bar from a
Let's say
gas
it's worth
station,
like $30.
that is still like a drop in the bucket compared to whatever company it is versus that friend going to jail is a very big deal and
Mhm.
very detrimental to their life. So it would hurt the friend a lot more than it hurts whoever's being stolen from.
Mhm.
I'd also in this situation, I don't have a very high opinion on companies and such. But like if I believe like what they were doing was detrimental to other people, I would try to talk to them about it.
Mhm. Okay.
But like I don't know, if you stole like a $30 thing from Target, I wouldn't do it, but I also wouldn't care because it's Target. And they have billions of dollars and it does not affect them at all.
Okay.
My moral is more about how actions affect and help and hurt
But
people
so in
and
this
weighing that.
situation, you're comparing it for a mega corporation. What if someone steals like 50 of something of value from like a local business store?
Yeah, that's a better
That
example.
would be a different situation. If what they're stealing would like really hurt like just the ma and pa store, I'd see that as worse because the action is there's a greater amount of pain being inflicted on the store because they need it a lot more. I still wouldn't immediately like turn them in. I'd
Mhm.
try to find a solution first that helps. Like maybe I'd just try to talk to them about it and see if they can just return it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of if I had to make a choice, I think I'd just wait which choice would hurt the other person more
Mhm. I mean, yeah, that's a
and which would help people more as a court as averse to just following the law.
yeah, yeah. Let me think. I had another. What about in larger scales? Like, I think a good example is Persona 5, where Persona 5 Royal, so spoilers there if anybody cares about that. Uh, Maruki's whole thing, where he is technically making a better world, but he's stripping anybody of free choice and agency.
I have very conflicted feelings about Maruki's whole deal. Part of why that's one of my favorite games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It goes up. Would you be willing to sacrifice like a lot of your free will in order to live a perfect life full of happiness? I have my own answer to that question, which is part of why I'm so conflicted by it. But I also recognize that what he's doing is he's answering that question for everyone, and they don't get a choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I'm so conflicted, because my
Yeah.
answer is like, I don't know. If you could give up not even that much, just a bit of your free will and saying how your life goes to live like a perfect life,
Well, that's where
it's
I'd like
kind
to
of
look into the
tempting.
nuance. Is that perfect? Because it is from Maruki's omnipotence in
Yeah, that's
quotations.
another reason why I'm hesitant. Like it. That's why it would be really bad if one person is in power of everything, because everything would be subjective to them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it just boils down to whether or not you trust that one person or not, which is another big reason why that one person doesn't have the right to answer that question for everyone else.
Oh, okay.
Because some people might agree with him, but other people will just. Some people don't want their free will taken away, and therefore Maruki should not have the right to make that choice for
Yeah.
them.
So, in your opinion, that would be wrong? Because, I mean, you could say he's doing the right thing, he's just doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, it's hard. He's in a situation where he's in power and he has the ability to make a giant sweeping change that affects so many people, but he can't like go in and ask every person at once because that'd just be Well, actually, no, he totally could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This question's a lot harder because it's a lot more fantasy, even when you try to look at it in a broader sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could still like put similar things with like government officials or like
Yeah,
it.
I wouldn't trust any one person out there to just control my life and make it perfect.
Mhm.
I wouldn't. So I think it's wrong because I don't think any person should be able to make that choice for someone else. Take away their free will in order to do what they believe would be making their lives better.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's
I don't know.
technically what the government. So you believe? Would you say that it's wrong because it's taking away large portions of free will?
Um, yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still having a hard time fully getting my thoughts in order. I still don't know definitively what I think about it,
Yeah.
but I think that's what I'm leaning towards. It's definitely a hard question from my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because like it's art, but I do think it's wrong because you're making such a sweeping change to everyone without even asking them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are examples of like you doing stuff to help people without you asking for like their consent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if one person did something like from without asking another person that would like make their someone's life a lot better, but they didn't like ask them to do that, is that wrong?
It depends on what they're taking away. Is there a?
Yeah,
They still have choice.
it's per situation. But the problem with like what Maruki is doing is like
Okay.
it's a massive sweeping decision that doesn't take into account every person's specific situation because it's a situation that has to be answered on a case by case basis
Yeah, that
because
makes
some
sense.
people might agree but but other people might not, so that's why you really shouldn't like do an AoE change like that because
Mm-hmm.
it's something that should be taken case by case and all that jazz.
Yeah, that makes sense. But a lot of situations are pretty sensitive, so you want to take it person by person to see what the best potential solution is for it.
Yeah, that's what I think would be right if you were to go like ask each individual person, but you can't like make a decision like that for everyone and just assume they'll be fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Then other like you can't. That wouldn't work in that scenario, anyways, because when you're taking away other people's agency but leaving it for others, they still have the ability to mess with other people.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, in the end, I think when you take away something, and I guess because it's kind of like, oh, this villain's doing something good. It's just they're doing it in the wrong way, or like in the case, it too large of a scale.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing it for the grand betterment of mankind, but because I'm not giving anyone any choice in the matter, that's where the problem lies,
Mhm.
right? Am I
Yeah,
getting in that?
mostly. I think that's yeah, that's like an example of it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last of what I have. Do either of you have any closing remarks on anything as a whole?
You know, I think that kind of covers everything.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
That's the same with me. So, don't forget to preheat the oven.